Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, hello everybody. Okay. At the beginning, I'd like to thank for the invitation which was extended to me to attend this conference, and for your excellencies as well. The good relationship, the cordial that has joined us together since the morning, and the chatting amongst ourselves. At the beginning, I would like to tell you that my presence here is not only a wish or a duty, but it is also through instructions from the ministry, the Prime Minister. He called me, and he stressed the importance of attending this conference. And to be honest, I'd like to say that to dismantle all misunderstanding and ambiguity surrounding this conference. Iraq is your state, your homeland, and your homeland. The observation which was with the Iraqi government was not only towards your conference only, but also the Iraqi government is sensitive to holding conferences outside Iraq. Two, these conferences are under the titles these other titles which are sectarian. 2 months ago, there was also another conference in Brussels, which was organized by the Institute of Peace of Europe. It was under the title, the Conference of the Sunnis. And today we have a conference for our Christian brothers in Iraq. Iraq is sensitive we are unhappy for our Christian Iraqis to be treated under their identity. So all these conferences could be under other titles, for example, such as the future of the Plain of Nineveh. Another conference, Mosul post-Daesh area. And as you know, the views which you have expressed, they could be expressed everywhere in Iraq and could be published in the papers and newsletters. Iraq is not sensitive to expressing views and attitudes. I don't, even if when they are a bit over enthusiastic, all views are welcome, and the exchange of views and the dissenting views is always there in Iraq on the political arena. The second point, and while we are in the conference, I have heard news of the end of ISIS in Mosul. The Iraqi defense has announced the end of Daesh in Mosul, and probably today or tomorrow the chief commander of the armed forces will announce the liberation of Mosul finally from ISIS. And you know very well, and the one who defeated ISIS were the people of Iraq, the Iraqi army, Christians and Muslims, and the military forces, the Peshmerga, and the popular mobilization also, and the tribal mobilization as well. All the Christians and Muslims who collaborated in this. All the sons and daughters of Iraq have collaborated into putting an end to ISIS. Another point I'd like to raise, which could have a political character, because since I attended this conference in the morning, I have heard many attitudes, some of which seem to me as if they they talk outside the political reality in which we live. You know very well, my brothers, that ISIS that is fighting in Iraq and Syria and for the last 8 years, and with the force and with the determination. They are not armed gangs coming from Iraq or other areas. They have a political project. They are mercenaries for political, regional and international parties. There is an agenda. There's a plan. Therefore, we have to raise the question. These people who are fought by the Iraqi army, by the Peshmerga, by the people, by the Syrians, and the coalition forces, and by Iran and Russia, how could they continue fighting? And who is providing them with arms? There is a plan. There is a collaboration on the area and on Iraq as well. The beginning of this plot is the division of Iraq. But we hope that they will not succeed. I mean to say that there are political intentions behind ISIS. ISIS does not represent Islam in any way. When we read in history how the church was treated in the Middle Ages, our ideas were not spoiled by those ideas. We continued glorifying Jesus Christ, and when we mention His name, we pray on His name. These people came, ISIS, to defame Islam, and you know very well. I don't like to indulge into political, okay, and especially when you are very tired. You know the area is targeted by superpowers. There are 3 objectives since the Second World War. The area is rich in oil, and there is Islam in the area as well. And okay. So there are many writers who wrote, Christian writers who wrote about Imam Ali. For example, the poet Abdul Wahid, he is a Christian from Imara. He is a Sabaite from Imara. And he wrote the best poems on Imam Hussein. Islam in the area is not only a religion, but also represents brotherhood. And also there is oil in the area. There is Islam in the area. And there are the collaborators of America in the area. Look at ISIS and the consequences of their work. Daesh targets these 3 main points which I mentioned there. Okay, he has defamed Islam, and also it reinforced the security and expansion and for the United States to stay in the area. So ISIS has political aspirations. We should not let him divide us and target our ideological and economical wealth. And Iraq is facing many challenges. And still, and through your speeches, that Iraq is suffering from the leftovers of the last regime, in addition to what Iraq has suffered during the period of the last regime. Iraq has benefited from this period of 10 years. We learned the art of conversation and negotiation. Okay. The best example on this is we learned the art of conversation and negotiation. We were we were not in good terms, but we again were in good terms with Kurdistan. Through negotiation, we managed to solve problem after problem. There are still problems, but throughout this period, through the stage of political work, we learned the art of building confidence and negotiation. So we have a duty to turn to this course of building confidence and depend on ourselves. Let's depend on ourselves. To be honest, neither America nor the American European Union states have the same economic potentials the way they had in the 80s of the last century. The problems and challenges we are facing at the moment, we can solve them through building confidence and reinforcing negotiation, and we managed to achieve some victories. I don't claim that we are ideal, as Mr. Hoshar mentioned. We are not ideal, as Mr. Hoshar said, but we have managed to achieve many achievements. There are drawbacks, there is corruption, there are mistakes, but our destiny is common. We are facing a common destiny. The aid which is provided to Iraq through the institutions of the European Union, as you had the representative, this aid is presented in the form of projects and not in the form of funds or money. These projects are being implemented in this area or that area. We are sincere in our negotiation with the European Union to represent Iraq in all these projects. When I go to the European Union, I transparently talk about all the projects being implemented in Mosul and Erbil and other areas of Iraq. We collaborate and cooperate in an excellent way, which is well studied with the brothers of the representative of Kurdistan region in Brussels, and we have succeeded in this experience, and we have spoke in front of the European Commission and European Parliament in one voice. We defend Kurdistan the way we defend Iraq, and I think that when we adopt such a dialogue and such we have more respect and more prestige within the European countries. We show them the characteristics of the new political era. We are a country which is actually a country of civilization. When we are proud of our country as a country of civilization, we have to reflect that in our behavior and in the art of coexistence and confidence building with the other. This is all I have to say. I have had many speeches, and I'd like to upload many speeches. And I have heard terms being said about the constitution, Iraqi citizenship. These are really good points. Our reference is the constitution of Iraq, but it is not something which is complete. It's not void of shortcomings and drawbacks, but we can always succeed in avoiding these mistakes. And your position in Iraq as Christians is respected, and it's a holy status, and especially by the Islamic authorities in Iraq. And as you have heard, all the churches were visited by the religious clergymen who visit these churches. There are mistakes. There is displacement and deportation and killings and other things. This is an experience which all the Iraqi people went through, Sunnis and Shiite and other people of Iraq, unfortunately. I'll come to the conclusion of my speech. I hope that you will continue meeting together.
I'm very happy to hear that your Prime Minister himself is interested in our conference, and we ask you to greet him from us. I have a question to follow up what you have been saying. Since you know that this Parliament passed a resolution last October in which we, from the European side, very clearly support a political solution for the Nineveh Plains, which means autonomy. I would like to ask you if you could give us, could you elaborate a little bit on this issue? How do you see it from your perspective, from the central government? Would you be willing to approve such a solution if it is in accordance, which we are saying in our decision, in the framework of the Iraqi constitution? And as you know, Mr. Ambassador, this is also a very crucial issue for this conference. We have it as one of the main topics in the position paper, which is agreed on by all the different parties who are participating. So please, Mr. Ambassador, if you could say something about this. What is the position from the central government of Iraq when it comes to the autonomy issue of Nineveh? Thank you.
Sincerely, when you ask the
ربما يجب توجيه هذا السؤال إلى رئيس الوزراء، وهو الذي هذا سؤال صعب جدا وسؤال صعب، لكنني أقول دائما أن هذه المسألة على الدستور وعلى الحوار بين السؤال الذي طرحه السيد لارش، حتى لو سأل رئيس الوزراء، يعني even if he asked the Prime Minister, he wouldn't be in a position to answer his question. The autonomy issue or a government for the Plain of Nineveh is an issue which is left to the Iraqi constitution and also to the coordination and dialogue between the federal government and the KRG and between yourselves, your excellencies, and the people of the people of the Plain of Nineveh, Muslims and Christians. And also in Baghdad there are also Muslims and Christians. This is an issue that can be solved through negotiation and dialogue, and cannot be decided by a decision from the Prime Minister. The important thing is that is not the autonomous autonomy in the Plain of Nineveh. There are important issues, but what is more important is that to coexist together. How can we progress together? Iraq is a federal regime, and in a federalism there is a potential to form to find a political format which could be even more than an autonomous. Now take the example of Kurdistan. They are enjoying what is more than an autonomous right, which is more than that. This issue cannot be defined by law, but it could be agreed upon. But you, the people of the Plain of Nineveh, to have powers within the federal government, which could be more than what you can get through the autonomous region. And this issue is left for negotiation and dialogue. And there are many issues in this respect. It's not in your interest or the Baghdad or the Kurdistan. There are regional and international interests. I wish we were more keen about living under the same umbrella of Iraq in a form of confederation or in a federal manner. Thank you, Your Excellency. No doubt, we would like to explain one very important point. We have been through, until now, many bad experiences, but we will never think, and now or in the future, to be a factor for dividing Iraq. There is no doubt about that. We have mentioned that even before this intervention, because we simply believe that our roots belong back to this area. But Your Excellency, no, we are here. Please tell us real solutions on the ground. You speak about dialogue, and in which we believe, but what can we do when we talk about when we talk with the Iraqi government about our demands and our marginalization, and we face up the obstacle which cannot be surpassed when there is no response? I am a member of the parliament. I sent a letter to His Excellency the Prime Minister in which I stressed, Mr. Prime Minister, let the solutions be Iraqi when it comes to the Chaldean-Syrian entity, and we always talk about these issues. But unfortunately, there are some movements and parties which are considered Islamic. They have different agendas. The way agenda has his own agenda. We also have some parties which are radical. Their aim is to end Iraq of these components. Therefore, I'd like to raise, how can we find a common language between us and the Iraqi government to find solutions in reality away from such conferences? Thank you very much. Mr. Joseph, I have no solution, but time will find solutions to this, okay? Time and dialogue will definitely find a solution to these problems. You know very well that our Christian brothers know very well. You have a distinguished presence in the parliament and in the Council of Governors, in addition to, you go into elections and you win in these elections. Time is and dialogue is the solution to find a way out of this crisis. When I was an ambassador in Qatar, I made a symposium on Iraq. One of the questions which was raised to me by an academic, how can you get rid of the embargo, okay, Article 7? And I told him, to make it short, have you heard the songs of Abdul Halim? He said, which one? The one who created us, he will deliver us from this plight. Yeah. So my answer to your question is, it is time and dialogue which are the way for a solution to this problem. Your Excellency, you came to the conference, as you said at the beginning, through instructions from His Excellency the Prime Minister. Please convey to him the experience of the Christians in Iraq. Probably you don't have information about Christians prior to 2003. Our population used to be 1.5 million, but now it's only 150,000 Christians in Iraq. The question is, was it ISIS alone which displaced Iraqis? Yeah, the Christians were in the south. They were in the north. Churches have been closed down in Basra and in Baghdad. which means there is no existence of the Christians in those areas. Maybe in the foreseeable future, there will be no Christians in those areas, or even in the south and in the middle of Iraq. Do you find this too much? For our Chaldean Syrian people in Iraq, if the Iraqi government was genuine and sincere for our people to stay and survive on their ancestral land, to be given an autonomous right or an independence or self-administration. Thank you very much. My dear brother, I would like to convey the feeling of all Iraqis, the Christianity in Iraq as a citizenship and also as a religion. It is in our conscience and in our existence. And I speak like an Iraqi citizen. Christianity is in our conscience. It's not only my feeling, it is the feeling which is shared by all the Iraqi people and the political parties. And when there is talk, a special talk, the political parties have no intention to marginalize Christians in Iraq, but because there are such a phenomena like ISIS, which controlled Ramadi, Fallujah, and Mosul, it was also hidden under the umbrella of killing and assassination and displacement and attacking churches and mosques and Husseiniyates. And also there are radical groups which attacked some clubs and trade centers and commercial centers, and they also aim some of our Christian brothers. This is not something which is endorsed by the government, nor by the political parties. Okay. What the Christians have been through has been experienced by all the Iraqis. Since 2016, we have received 20,000 immigrants from Iraq. Most of them are from the south and from Kurdistan and from Baghdad and from other areas. Immigration is and displacement and attacks are aiming everybody. There is no intention by the Iraqis in all their denominations to target the Christian brothers. It's on the other way around. On the contrary.
I would like to thank Your Excellency, Mr. Ambassador, for coming. And we, as I said, we really appreciate the interest from the Iraqi government. And I hope also, Your Excellency, that you have a chance to be with us tonight at the dinners, so the dialogue between yourself and the participants might be possible to continue on a more personal level. Again, thank you very much.